Hello, this is Chef Siddiq with you on NA's Weekly English News. The government of Myanmar, Burma, has admitted firing on villages occupied by the Rohingya Muslim minority with helicopter gunships. There are reports of villages burning in the northern region of Arakan. Photos released by the Human Rights Watch seem to show shattered villages, with the group reporting 430 burned buildings. The satellite photos were taken between 22 October and 10 November following reports of fighting and civilian fleeing last month. Rohingya activists say the government is trying to systematically drive the Muslim minority from their villages. Attacking the Rohingya is a popular move for the military. The BBC's Jonah Fisher reports from the Myanmar's largest city, Yangon. The Burmese government is not allowing independent journalists in Arakan. Recent renewed military campaigns against the Rohingya in Arakan state by the Myanmar army violates every article of Universal Declaration of Human Rights by United Nations, which condemns arbitrary arrests, sexual abuses, extrajudicial killings, forced displacement, right to movement, hate speech towards Rohingya as propaganda, denial of Rohingya ethnicity's existence, and right to educate themselves. Rohingya bodies were found in a state of ashes in Mongdo city of Arakan of Myanmar. The victims were completely burned inside their homes on Sunday by Myanmar army. This comes a day after the bloody and violent events witnessed in the western city of Mongdo, where Myanmar forces launched air assaults by helicopters on local Rohingya population in search of so-called militants, according to a government official. A correspondent of Arakan news agency sent a video clip of these burned to death Rohingya bodies and stated that the victims were failed to flee their homes during attack by the government forces by helicopter and arsonist act towards Rohingya homes. The video footage showed a Rohingya woman and a family member to the victim agonizingly crying for the burned human being and says, "My father, please get up." An elderly Rohingya was shot dead by Myanmar army on 13th of November in northern Mongdo in the village of Darjisa, Gozi Bill. The victim was in his late 60s. His name was Abdul Hakim. He is the latest victim of Myanmar's army's genocidal campaign against Rohingya Muslims. Myanmar military forces continue raids in different villages of Mongdo following the bloodiest persecution since the recent operations. Sources claim it is likely more than 100 Rohingya people, including children and women, were killed by army attacks in the villages with mortars and heavy machine guns. Intensive raids on 14 November resulted in mass casualties more than intense than the past few weeks. In Ray-May-Bill, Myanmar army entered the village at around 9 a.m. There are reports that 9 people might have been killed when army set homes on fire and shot at fleeing civilians. There are also reports that 29 people have been arrested. Up to 69 members of what Myanmar government have described as Rohingya Muslim militant group and 17 members of security forces have been killed in an escalation of fighting in ethnically divided Arakan state. The army said on Tuesday that toll announced in the state-owned Global New Light of Myanmar, Delhi, was sharply higher than the reported by the state media at the weekend, and came as a former United Nations Chief Kofi Annan, who chairs a commission on resolving Arakan's problem, voiced concern at the upsurge in violence. "I wish to express my deep concern over the recent violence in northern Arakan state, which is plunging the state into renewed instability and creating new displacement," said former UN Secretary General Annan in a statement. "All communities must renounce violence, and I urge the security services to act in fully compliance with the rule of law," he said. Members of a commission set up by the Suu Kyi in August are in Arakan for consultation with community members this week. Thousands of Rohingyas have gathered in outskirts of Mingla Tara Oak after the attacks by the army, which have killed more than 100 people in villages of Shurugozibil, Borgozibil, Sangli Farang, Rebilla, Boli Bazar, Longdong, and Doitan Ludain during the recent violence. The fleeing people are living in open field. The authorities have even refused permission for Rohingyas to light fire to cook food or warming their body. The humanitarian situations are dire as the Rohingyas have little food or medicine with them. Many of the children are suffering from diarrhea, and locals say it is only a matter of time before the humanitarian situation will get totally out of control. Rakhine extremists vandalized an ancient mosque in Zedeping, Zadi Farang, in Rathaidong and desecrated the Muslim Holy Quran. At around 12:30 am on Tuesday, 15 November, the gang entered the mosque and they were loudly cursing and shouting. After they left the spot, the villagers went to the place and found they had tried to set the building on fire. The fire has destroyed Muslim holy books, the prayer place for Imam. Empty bottles were also discovered in the signs. Later, when the Muslim complained to the village administrator, he said no Rakhines were involved and Muslims had set fire on their own buildings. The mosque was first built in 1896 and later upgraded in 1912. Myanmar's military has killed scores of Rohingya Muslims in its recent crackdown across the western state of Arakan. A London-based advocacy group says the Arakan Rohingya National Organization said on Wednesday that based on reports from the troubled region, at least 150 Muslims had been killed since Saturday. Koko Ling, a senior official from the organization, said Myanmar's government sought to cover up the killings by barring the media and aid groups from entering the area. The government has so far acknowledged the death of nearly 70 Rohingya Muslims and 17 members of security forces during the past days of fighting. Myanmar's troops have also tortured hundreds of Rohingya homes over the past days. Hundreds of Rohingya Muslims are fleeing a military crackdown in western Myanmar to Bangladesh, trying to escape an upsurge of violence that has brought the total number of deaths confirmed by the army to more than 130. Some of the Rohingya were gunned down as they tried to cross the Naf River that separates Myanmar and Bangladesh, while others arriving by the boat were pushed away by the Bangladeshi border guards, and many may be stranded at sea, residents said. They have locked down the district where the vast majority of residents are Rohingya, shutting out aid workers and independent observers. The army has intensified its operations in the last 7 days and has used choppers to reinforce, with dozens reported killed. Aid workers, camp residents and authorities in Bangladesh estimated at least 500 Rohingya had fled Myanmar since the October attacks. The refugees are now staying in 4 Rohingya camps on Bangladesh side of border, they say. But on Tuesday, Bangladeshi border guard pushed back a large group of Rohingya trying to cross. The US on Tuesday urged the government of Myanmar to do more to stem violence in western Arakan state, where nearly 150 Rohingya Muslims have been killed by security forces in the past week. A State Department spokeswoman, Elizabeth Trudeau, said a US delegation currently holding talks in Myanmar asked the government to improve the transparency and facilitate a credible independent investigation of the killings. Trudeau also reiterated a calling for a humanitarian access. Rohingya Muslims have fled Myanmar in droves since mid-2012 after communal violence broke out in Arakan between ethnic Rakhine Buddhists and Rohingya, described by the United Nations as among the most persecuted minority groups worldwide. Thank you for watching this Chef Today. Hope to see you very soon with more news.